Hi guys, this week I'll get back into the old sort of routine and bring you crime stories from all over the world, plus stories about crimes committed around or involving royals, etc. But for now, I want to talk about what everyone else is talking about, Sebastian Rogers, the 15-year-old autistic boy who disappeared from his mother's and stepfather's home in February this year. We talked about this before, so I'm not going to go through the nitty-gritty of the case again. So much water has run under the bridge and still Sebastian has not been found. Like in the Summerweld case, instead of the investigation and search for Sebastian intensifying in a last-ditch effort to find the boy or find out what happened to him, the whole entire case is turning into a shit show with his father, the guy we all loved and felt sorry for, actually turning it into a circus. And quite frankly, that is the very last thing this case needs. The mom and stepfather, stepdad in particular, has already turned this case into a bit of a circus. Stepdad by going on almost every channel, losing his temper, ranting and often talking BS, using wrong words out of context, etc., etc. A really rather dumb guy trying to sound clever. Anyway, first Biodad told everybody to F off as he was now going to work with stepdad and mom. Then he fired both his private investigators after appointing himself a PR or media manager. And now he has sent out cease and desist letters, not only telling people to stop talking about him, but also to stop talking about his son. In my opinion, doing this because he started a YouTube channel himself, posting a video of Sebastian playing in the park. Although I now find that the channel, which he so widely advertised, seemed to have disappeared. But the word on the street is that he wants to put a whole new one up and do it more professionally. Anyway, so it appears that Biodad Seth wants to ensure that he is the only one talking about Sebastian so that everyone goes to his channel and he gets monetized. He actually almost said as much on another channel when he referred to YouTubers making money off Sebastian's disappearance and then going on to say that he needs money for billboards and flyers and to search for his son. Well, firstly, I think numerous YouTubers have already collected money and paid for billboards. And I believe or heard that TBI will provide free flyers. At this point, more than 100 days after Sebastian's disappearance, Biodad Seth can, like everyone else, go back to work and search on his days off and conduct everything else via phone or email. There are still people out there actively searching, and instead of sending these people cease and desist letters, Seth would be better off forming alliances with them and joining their searches when he can. But no, he appears to think he can do it all by himself. He also appears to think he can dictate what people do, say, or think. Or is it merely that his son has now, after an initial grieving period, become a cash cow for him? A business opportunity? I don't know. It sure looks like it. Look, we all know by now that Seth Rogers, the Biodad, is indeed innocent of any physical wrongdoing in the disappearance of Sebastian, his son, as Seth was at work as deputy sheriff in a prison. In other words, he was surrounded by surveillance cameras until about 7 a.m. on the morning when Sebastian was reported missing. So physically, he could not have done anything to cause Sebastian's disappearance. But I'm wondering, Say Sebastian did walk off or run away. Could it be that Seth was a contributing factor to Sebastian's emotional distress, which then led him to running away? Maybe Sebastian did have a hard time at his mother and stepfather's home, but maybe it was not so much better at his father's house. Maybe Sebastian was not looking forward to staying with his father either. But where would Sebastian have planned on going if not to his father? I don't know. According to his mother, he did not have any friends. Okay, well, I guess those would be good questions if you believe that Sebastian ran away. I still cannot wrap my head around the idea that Sebastian ran away with nothing. No shoes, no jacket, no sweets, no phone, no switch, no money, nothing, zilch, nada. I mean, the boy was indeed 15 years old, no matter how mature or immature he was. It does not make sense unless, like I said before, he was running for his life, or at least he thought so. So what I did to sort out the mess created by the parents and step-parent into a coherent chronological narrative instead of a convoluted, disorganized heap of trash was to go to a basic law enforcement manual on missing persons. So let's run through it. Obviously, there is the reporting phase where the very basic information is collected. Name, age, description, when the missing person was last seen, etc., etc. Police will use this information or the information you provided to consider all lines of inquiry which are appropriate and necessary in the circumstances. These lines of inquiry will include searching the home address of the missing person to confirm that they are not there and to establish whether there is any evidence or information on where they could be or where they may have wanted to go. Then search the area where the person was last seen if it is obviously not their home address. Check with local hospitals, check phone providers, social media accounts, and check with the financial institutions. Now, we don't know whether Sebastian had his own bank account, whether he had a bank card, that he could draw money from an ATM. We have not been told any of that, so we honestly don't know. But maybe that is something which Seth could enlighten us about. Check all electronic devices used by the missing person, including their internet search history. Well, we know that law enforcement has Sebastian's electronics. Door knocks and house-to-house inquiries near where the missing person was last seen or near their home address. We know that law enforcement had done that. Review CCTV and door cameras. We know that law enforcement has done that. Maybe they are still going through footage. We don't know. Interview family, friends, acquaintances, colleagues, school friends, college friends, whatever the case may be. We know that law enforcement did that or are still doing that. Coordinating media coverage to raise awareness. Well, we've seen one or two media conferences, but not many. Depending on the circumstances, the police will involve the use of search and rescue personnel to conduct specialist searches via helicopters, divers, and dogs. And we know that law enforcement did that. Okay, so according to the mom and stepdad, they reported Sebastian missing at about 6:33 a.m. on Monday morning, the 26th of February 2024. By 11:17 a.m., an endangered child alert was issued by the TBI on behalf of the Sumner County Sheriff's Office In the alert, it was stated that Sebastian was last seen in or near Stafford Court, Hendersonville, and that he was wearing a black sweatshirt and black sweatpants and glasses. As from 11:17 a.m. on Monday, nearly 200 people were dispatched to search for Sebastian, including K9 teams, mounted units, helicopter crews and drones. The search covered a 5-mile radius in those first days. On Tuesday, the 27th, the very next day, the endangered child alert was elevated to an amber alert. And note, I think this is very important. It was elevated to an amber alert, and the reason given was that it was based on investigative information developed during the first day's search. Now take further note of the following. An amber alert is issued when there is a reasonable belief by law enforcement that an abduction has occurred and the child is in imminent danger of serious bodily injury or death. Now my number one question would be, what did law enforcement discover on that first day that led them to believe that Sebastian was abducted or in danger of serious injury or death? At 15, Sebastian could be deemed a runaway. That is what his mother and stepdad believe and what they want us to believe. But I'm putting it to you here and now that it is not what law enforcement believe. For me, it is clear that law enforcement believes that something likely nefarious had befallen Sebastian, and that regardless of the fact that law enforcement said there is no proof that a crime has or has not occurred, I think they are relatively convinced that a crime has indeed occurred. Dozens of agencies searched for Sebastian on the 27th, also blasting his favorite song, Eye of the Tiger, while searching and calling his name. A press conference was also held on the second day. On Thursday, the 29th, a pond was drained, but nothing found. Police checked several pieces of surveillance camera footage, but Sebastian was not detected on any of them. Emergency Management Agency Director Ken Widener added that search and rescue dogs had not been able to pick up a scent. Yes, I know, that is controversial, because it was an alleged scent which led law enforcement to the pond in the first place, where the scent allegedly disappeared. On Saturday, the 2nd of March, a reward was announced, and on Monday, the 4th of March, a week after Sebastian was reported missing, law enforcement announced that they were scaling back their ground search and transitioning to an investigation. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but this was a little quick as far as I'm concerned. In the case of Summer Wells, we had media briefings for 10 consecutive days, and ground searches continue well into the following month, July 2021. Law enforcement also returned to searching sporadically, with the last known official search taking place shortly before the 6-month anniversary of Summer's disappearance. So for those who say that Summer's disappearance is very similar to that of Sebastian, or Sebastian's is very similar to Summer's, I say not quite. Soon it will be 4 months since Sebastian disappeared, and I would really like to believe that Sebastian ran away and that some bleeding heart gave him a lift to wherever he wanted to go and dropped him off. Remember Connor Jack Oswald, a 16-year-old autistic boy who went missing in 2019? He went missing in Clear Lake on September the 8th, 2019, and the search for him ended in April 2022 when Connor Jack was found outside a gas station. A couple of weeks before Connor Jack was found, residents in the area of Summit Park started calling the sheriff's office to report a homeless person pushing a cart. Deputies made contact with him a few times and offered to find him food and shelter, but he refused and also would not give his name. On April the 9th, he was again reported sleeping outside a gas station. When the deputies arrived, the person was very cold and they offered for him to warm up in their patrol vehicle. This time they scanned his fingerprints and the rest is history. So nobody could actually say that it is not possible that Sebastian could be found. Eventually, he may very well be, but I just feel that unless Sebastian was indeed picked up by someone and taken out of the area, I personally do not have much hope that he is still alive. Let's say, I'm 90% convinced that if Sebastian did attempt to run away and was not picked up by someone, he would have been found by now. But then if someone had picked him up, then why haven't they come forward yet? Unless, of course, he was picked up by someone with nefarious intentions. So, in my opinion, there are too many ifs in a runaway scenario. If he ran away and just walked off and did not get a ride, he would have been found by now. If he was picked up by a bleeding heart stranger, surely by now they would have come forward. If he was picked up by a stranger with nefarious intentions, why has no one spotted anything on their cameras? Something like a strange or unknown vehicle in the area. Now remember, in an interview, law enforcement actually said that all vehicles in the area had been accounted for. Now, I actually thought that was a strange thing to say. Why say that? That to me was like a finger wag, almost like a threat by law enforcement. The other veiled threat, in my opinion, was when law enforcement said there was no trace of Sebastian leaving the house, and that after it was said that Max, a scent-specific dog, followed Sebastian's scent. In a recent interview, a handler said in a rather obscure comment that Max followed a scent, but it turned out that it wasn't Sebastian's scent. At the very least, it did not lead to Sebastian. So where does that leave us? Leaves anyone for that matter, the parents and or law enforcement. It actually leaves us with nothing. That's what. Except that the last place he was seen was at his home, and the last person to see him was his mother. And there's absolutely no proof that he actually left his home. So tell me, what are we supposed to think? But due to all the BS put out there by the stepfather and by a father, the common sense, the ability to stay calm and look at the case with logic is now actually diminishing by the day. Logic is getting lost among all the BS put out by two men who lead by or with their egos. At the moment, it's hard to even give an educated guess as to what really happened to Sebastian, but it is my opinion that law enforcement is of the opinion that foul play did happen, either inside of his home or at the hands of a stranger outside of his home. But one way or the other, I think law enforcement thinks that something nefarious happened and so do I. I just don't exactly know where to place the blame. Okay, my dear listeners, thank you for spending your time with me. As I said, I will catch up this week, and I'm going to do 2 videos right now and schedule them for the rest of the week. So until I meet you and see you again on the next one, please take good care of yourselves, your pets, your children, and each other. Bye.